Time for the pledge, please.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. There's no one here for citizens' comments.
Can I make one?
No.
And as a private citizen?
You can't go.
I
don't know about that.
No.
It's actually just to thank Dr. Brunel for all of her hard work and decision-making that she had to make over the last couple of weeks, not only as a school committee member, but as a parent. I appreciate and understand what she had to go through, so I just wanted to say thank you.
Thank you.
And thank everybody in the town for all the hard work they did, but I know you had some decisions to make, and so I just wanted to say that.
Thank you.
Okay, so regular session minutes. We have minutes for December 1st. We need a motion to approve those.
I move we approve those.
A second.
Discussion? Okay, all those in favor? Aye. Okay, we have student representatives report. Rachel?
We have no report this week due to all the days off.
Okay.
And thank you, Dr. Burnett.
Very welcome.
Wow.
That makes the aging I've done of 25 years all worth it, truly.
And so now we go to the superintendent's report. The first item on the agenda was a recognition of the Auburn High School football team. Unfortunately, they couldn't be here this evening, so we will move that recognition down to another meeting.
Yes.
So I'll let the superintendent take it from here.
Great. Thank you, Mrs. Gribbins. The next item on the agenda is a request, as noted in here, from the Lucy Johnson Fitzgerald Dance Studio for use of the Auburn High School Auditorium. For the past 2 school years, she has used the auditorium with no issues at all, at a cost of $3,260 each year. As you saw in her note that she included, she actually even purchased or invested in a special flooring for performances, and in the hopes that she would be a long-time renter at Auburn High School. When we calculated the fees, and using the same amount of time as has been used the past 2 years, the fee this year would be over $13,000 for her to use that. And she has submitted a letter seeking your reconsideration of that amount. In anticipation and to share with you some information, we did solicit information from numerous area school districts. And as you can see in here, the average rate is anywhere from about $100 an hour up to, I think there was one in the immediate area, up to $150 an hour, with $125 being the norm, and some even going as low as $50 an hour. So it is my recommendation that we make an adjustment in this fee. I know that it was just approved on May 19th of 2008, the fee. Included in front of you are 2 different scenarios. The one on top is if the auditorium is, the hourly rate is $150 an hour, along with all of the other fees that she would be required to pay for custodial services, the audiovisual tech, a classroom use, site manager as well, would total $7,550.50. At the rate of $200 an hour, again with all of those other additional costs, it would be $8,700.50. And neither of those amounts include what she would pay to the Auburn Police Department. We would require that she have a police detail to ensure the safe traffic flow in and out of Auburn High School. So it is my recommendation that we redo the rate to the $150 an hour. I've spoken with Mr. Hanfield, with Mr. Dede, and Mr. Fahey about this. And I recommend this to you after obviously consulting with them, but would then look to see when this is held to actually calculate what it costs us to use it. These gentlemen are very comfortable believing that we would, in fact, not only cover all of our costs, but realize a profit that we could put into our building use account and potentially support some building projects at the school, especially in light of what we know to be tough economic times we're currently in and even in future years.
I'd like to make the motion that we reconsider the rate and make it $150 an hour. If we get a second, then I'd like to explain why I'd like to make the motion.
I'll second just for discussion.
Okay. Thank you, Wayne. The reason for it is I know it costs us a lot of money to allow people to use that building. However, there are a wide number of Auburn children that participate in this dance. I know several of those families. I've gone to these performances. The children get an awful lot out of it. Some of them have even gone on to even teach, that they stayed with the dancing that long. I would like to propose that we keep it at the $150 an hour with the consideration that Dr. Burnell made, that we will monitor what the cost actually was to ensure that we didn't lose out in the deal future. So that's the reasoning for my motion.
Yeah, I just had a couple questions on it. Have we had requests from other dance studios to use the facilities? And would you anticipate that we do? We have I know that we have other dance schools in Auburn. Mm-hmm. We also have a lot outside Auburn, and Auburn kids probably attend them.
Mm-hmm. Not in my tenure through the chair has any other requests come through. This is the only one. That isn't to say others may not come through, but it's my understanding this is the only one that has used it.
And this would be our third year.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you have any kind of percentage of how many Auburn?
I don't know if she noted that in her.
Said many Auburn families or something.
Yeah.
There are a lot. I know of 7.
There are a lot.
Yeah.
I know of 7. I'm not
I have
really
a
sure.
question.
I just, go ahead, Liz.
Yeah. What do we charge per hour for in-town groups?
Do we have that through here? Yes, okay. The in-town groups would be, with air conditioning would be $125 an hour. Without air conditioning would be $75 an hour.
With that in mind, I would prefer to see the $200 an hour as opposed to the $150. I think it's a for-profit. It's
Yeah.
not.
That's true.
And then I think that really the motion, I'd be willing to do that as long as we are using it sort of as a as a way to figure out a better rate that we should be. Obviously, we keep having to come back and adjust these. Obviously, something needs to be done permanently. We can't keep adjusting it every time somebody comes forward. So if we want to use this sort of as a test to see what it's really going to cost us, and then we can adjust it at the end. But I'm not for having individual people come and then just arbitrarily picking a number to charge them. So.
That's a good point. Would you like me to amend my motion to the $200? Is that what you're recommending?
If it stays at 150, I would have to say I would not be voting in favor of it. So you can just, that's your decision to
Okay,
make.
so how do I do that? Do I rescind or do I just amend?
You could simply amend it.
Okay, I'd like to amend my motion to $200 an hour then, instead of the $150.
Second for discussion.
Okay.
The only thing is, with that is, I know she's doing it's for profit, but the thing is, if we do it at the $200, are we gonna now make parents and people pay more to do this? I mean, everybody's having a hard time with money now. And if we keep on adding more and more to it,
Right.
that's my problem with it. I mean, I understand, I agree with you 100% about nonprofit. There's no doubt about that. But the thing is, if we turn around and say $200 at this time, then is this gonna come out of the parents' and the children's
I
pockets?
guess that's up to
You
her
know?
whether she's gonna raise.
That's the only thing I don't
you know.
feel comfortable about.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's up, I
but-
mean, she's making a profit off it, so I guess she'd have to decide how much of a profit she wants to make off of her dance,
Right.
her, you know, her program. But to me, you have to have, there needs to, for, in town, it's, you know, there has to be enough of a difference, I think. However, I really want to make sure that we're charging what we should be charging and not just picking something
Now,
out of a hat.
Would it be a problem to put this on hold and try to get some kind of estimates before we vote on this?
Through the chair, estimates regarding what it would actually cost us?
Yes.
I did speak with Mr. Fahey about that. One of the difficulties is it's impossible to predict what the weather will be on that weekend that she wants it. So the hotter that it is, the more compressors and the harder they're going to need to work to cool the auditorium. So that was one of the issues, quite honestly, with it.
Well, what do you feel comfortable in looking into this with Joe? The 200 or the 150, in your opinion?
I would be very happy to have Mr. Fahey do an exercise to determine, I mean, he was comfortable with the 150, realizing that we would need to revisit it, or may need to revisit it, but I could certainly have him do the exercise and calculate it based on, you know, our electricity charge, which, you know, is a slightly lower rate, and come back to you. I do know that Mrs. Johnson Fitzgerald is anxious to secure someplace. If it's not going to be Auburn High, then another place. But I would like to think that within 3 to 4 weeks' time may not make a difference to her. I couldn't say.
I guess my question also is, what are these figures up here, custodial services, auditorium, are those estimations, or those what they deem to be?
Those are exactly from the fee schedule that's been approved. So the custodial services would be the $29.50 an hour. The AV is the $30 an hour. Classroom use for-profit is $25 an hour. And site manager, when used by an Auburn for-profit, is $30 an hour. So those are fixed costs that have already been set in the fee schedule.
And is that what we're actually paying these people? Or is that what you've got down?
The site managers, we pay less. The classroom,
That's
that's
a
really
fee.
a rental charge. The AV technician, I don't know, to be honest with you, what we actually pay him for his services. I know who does it for us. And the custodial services, that is the rate, yes.
Because if you add all these up, it's $265 an hour. So we would be losing money off of this. If we did it at $200 an hour.
Oh, no, I meant
No, this is over
just
and
the
above.
rental rate would be $150 an hour. So you still would have all these other fees.
Yes.
Okay,
No,
all
we
right,
would
I
definitely still
understand now.
charge for custodial,
Okay,
AV.
all right, then
all of that's
I
in
misunderstood what you
addition
had
to-
up here, okay.
Yes. No,
Okay,
I would strongly encourage that we not waive those fees at all. Those are real costs for us.
okay, that was my
Yeah.
concern, okay.
A big portion of the fee schedule is the rental of 5 classrooms. Why are they renting 5 classrooms?
I think they change in those
Don't
between,
we have changing facilities?
Oh, not for that many.
I
No,
think
they're all
so.
costumes and
Yeah, I
they
know
need
what they've got, I
classrooms.
know what they've got.
They
but-
need classrooms.
yeah. That's what she has used the past 2 years, and they've utilized all 5 classrooms to a great extent, I understand. There's so many of them. And so many classrooms.
That's almost a third of their cost.
So based on we're asking whether we're going to.
And not only is it a third of the cost, but it also is happening right after school gets out on school days. This event, we're still in school on June 11th, 12th, and 13th on a Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
It's dress rehearsals. Yeah.
Right. Right, it would be within an hour of school getting out on the 10th and 11th, you're right. So 12th and 13th is Saturday and Sunday?
Well, we'd like to
Okay.
put this off, or are you ready to vote on this?
Can I hear the motion again? And I'll tell you why after I hear it. I'm just asking, are you setting a rate for this particular group? Or are you see, I could not do that. I can't say, I'm not going to sit here and bargain with every group that comes in. I think if we want to set
I
that
would-
group,
Well, I think
that
Liz is right
rate
about that,
because
what you
we're
said at the
too
beginning.
high,
Right.
then we should do it. But it should be a rate for anyone that's
Yeah,
renting
I
it,
have to agree.
not just for this particular event.
I'd like to put it on hold and get a little more information at our next meeting. if
Well,
possible.
when you mean by more information, so at the next meeting, we could actually set a solid rate, whether it's the
Wherever it
stand
is.
studio or whoever it is.
Right.
I would agree with you.
That's perfectly fine, but if I just may, through the chair, my recommendation was to actually adjust the fee for the auditorium with air conditioning for Auburn and nonprofit groups, Auburn for-profit groups, Auburn and non-Auburn for-profit groups. So to actually change it, because I agree that we don't want to have, each time someone comes forward, to come back with a request. But I'm happy to do more and get more information and return in January.
Yeah, I misunderstood the recommendation. I apologize. I thought you were asking just for the specific.
How many people, and I don't know if anyone knows, but how many people would we expect to attend this? There must be a problem, because we're talking about telling them not to park off-site. We've got room for an awful lot of cars. If
Oh,
they're saying we've
hundreds
got more
of people
cars
go to
than
these
that.
things, hundreds.
Okay,
Yeah, that's a lot.
so that,
So the kids.
you know, if you've got that
families,
many
extended
going,
families.
I suppose that figures in what our price should be, what our rate should be. You know, I'm very willing to wait for Wayne, as
Yeah,
Ron
but I
says.
mean, if we're gonna make
Yeah.
a policy, we're not gonna be able to go on basically the size of the people who go there. Is that what you're trying to say, Ron?
I don't know, I
You
would
can't
just
do
like to
that
get
because then
handle
you're
it.
gonna
Yeah.
have, then depending
Yeah,
on
I'd
the
like to get
event,
a
you're gonna
handle
have to
on it.
modify
Oh, I
it,
know
so you
that.
can't do that.
You may
Yeah.
not have as many people as
Right.
they
But I'm
expected.
just wondering what kind of wear and tear we get in the building,
Oh, that's true too.
and how much
I mean, you could check
supervision
up
we'll
for that,
need.
but-
That's the thing, is you've got a lot of people, they're using the bathrooms, they're using, you know, they're going in and, you know, they're going
They've
in and out.
used it the last 2 years with no incident.
Yeah,
So.
sure.
I'm just saying, you
But-
guys are bringing
Well, we're
up.
trying to-
I
Was-
know, but you're bringing up
yeah.
wear and tear in the bathroom. Well, that's all been
No, I'm
done in
bringing
the
up,
past,
there must
so-
have been a complaint from Shaw's, because now we're saying,
Oh,
make
no.
sure you warn your
Okay.
people don't park at Shaw's, and,
That's not
you know,
what I'm talking
overflow
about,
can
but-
go to the library, but, you know, I think I would want to know
Yeah,
if
but
that's out of the
basically-
library.
Whatever.
Yeah, but basically, if they get complaints from Shaw's and that, there's really
That's
not
not
much we can do
what I
about
meant.
that.
I was talking about, you know, the wear and tear of the
Right.
building.
No, no,
in
I'm
and
not-
out. We've done it
yeah,
the
I'm-
last
I'm
2
just-
years
yeah.
without a problem,
Yeah.
so.
Right.
Well, I wasn't suggesting
Fine.
they were causing problems, it was a problem, just saying, as you know, it is a lot
Yeah,
of people.
can we handle it
We need a
on,
fee
while school is still in session? And school is still in session.
Did they, the last 2 years, did they use it during school too?
Yeah, that part's only for dress rehearsal, so it only
It's
involves
only
the
the
students.
students. It wouldn't be, you know, audiences or anybody.
The Saturday and Sunday are when they have an audience, and that's when they,
Is anybody, we have a motion on the floor, so all those in favor of it being, if you want to put it off, just vote, you know, don't vote in favor of it, but we have a motion on the floor for
What would you-
$200 an
yeah.
hour.
Do you want to put it off, Wayne?
I would like to, but
What would you like for info, so that we can,
more of what we feel that it's gonna cost us. And, you know, I just can't really, I don't feel comfortable just voting on it right now because I don't know, and not only that, but you got two different fee structures, and I don't feel comfortable with charging more if I know. And, you know, I probably, this is my scenario, it could be not right with you people, but, you know, parents and stuff getting charged more to cover this stuff. At this time, I don't think it's a good thing to make people pay more for anything, and I just don't feel comfortable.
Yeah, I just think, you
And I
know,
like
you
more
need to
information
consider how much it's
and
going to
a
cost.
policy.
Yeah, and I think it needs to be in sync with what other people with similar facilities are charging.
Right, but not only that, we gotta, like you said in the beginning, Liz, is we gotta set a policy, this is the way it's gonna be for everybody, not
Yeah.
case by case all the time.
Okay, so we have a motion on that floor for $200 an hour. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed?
Oh,
I think we just,
don't
we
vote.
want, yeah, info.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
In fact, I'll make a motion that we put it on the agenda for the next meeting and see if we can
Get
have
more info, yeah.
info
Okay.
on it.
Sounds good.
So what was the vote? 1 with 3 abstentions?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's,
Yeah.
I don't know the,
Yep.
okay. I think what I was planning to do, and if everybody agrees with this, as we go along, Dr. Brunel likes to give us she likes to give us information, but for her to go through everything after we've read it, so she's just going to go down the list and say, she'll just say, for example, Ecotarium Thank You Letters from M.D.S. and Bryn Mawr. Any questions? And then if you have any questions, you can ask it. And then she doesn't have to go through all of the things that she's put in the packet as informational. Okay?
Yep.
Thank you, Mrs. Gribbins. As Mrs. Gribbins just noted, there are thank you notes in there included regarding the MDS and Bryn Mawr school trips to the Ecotarium. Central Mass Disposal, just making you aware of the fact that they have generously donated the bins, which came as a result of the middle school environmental club with the plastic bottles. Life Touch school portraits, the 5 pictures that are currently hanging in the foyer of Randall School with the Auburn High School one soon to arrive, were donated free of charge from Life Touch. So I would ask that you formally accept those, and we will send a thank you to them.
I'll make that motion to accept the donation of the photographs.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
The next item, you asked that be included basically the unfunded mandates that we have, and it was a position paper written by the M.A.S.S Association of School Superintendents, so I included that in there for your review. Additionally, I included a letter regarding Adam Burney, the town planner, is seeking to have the town of Auburn included in the Blackstone River National Heritage Corridor.
Oh, excuse me, I'm sorry, I didn't realize you moved right into the next item, if I may, through the chair. Is it possible to put this up on the website, this unfunded mandate?
Absolutely.
This is an aggressive, unbelievable, and I read this. So I would just like people to be able to have access to that if possible. Thank you.
So I included for you the letter that I submitted in support of that. There are connections to the curriculum frameworks, so was happy to do that for Adam. I don't know if anyone has any questions.
I do,
On
through
that.
the chair,
Okay.
please. I just don't really understand what it is, what it means, if you wouldn't mind.
Sure. I can tell you to the degree that I know, in speaking with Adam, it really could make Auburn open to receiving some grant funds. And that was really the reason for it, that it goes, the corridor actually does include Auburn, but you actually have to be accepted, I suppose, into it. And then once designated as part of the official Blackstone River Valley Heritage Corridor, you can be part of grant funds that may be sought and received. So that was really the reason for it. And because of, as I noted in here, a couple of the different curriculum frameworks at a few different grade levels, not that we couldn't access that information now, because there are facilities within our town and in historical areas, but this would designate Auburn and really, hopefully for some grant funds, quite honestly, is the bottom line.
Okay, so have we've been, is this saying we've been accepted into?
No, this was just
No.
saying that we were supporting, excuse me, the town of Auburn's quest to
Okay.
be accepted.
Okay, and then the grants that we may be able to share in would be pertaining to history? Or could it be
Yes.
pertaining to anything?
It could be pertaining to history. In some of the other quarters, they do like walking trails and things through there, like for historical spots. I don't have all of that information, but that's generally the reason for it.
Okay, so we will get a follow-up to this?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yes. The next article, this had come through the M.A.S.C. listserv, and I just wasn't certain if everyone had read it. It really, it's from Michael Gilbert of M.A.S.C., the field director, and spoke about the tough fiscal times that are upon us and more to come, I think. So just shared that as an FYI that had come through, and it was actually in the Boston Globe article.
Did you get anything from his website,
From whose?
Gilbert, from when we did the presentation?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, I got it too.
Yes, you did.
The next item I included, all of our schools are doing, regularly publishing newsletters, and I wanted to be sure to share them all with you. It takes an awful lot of effort from the principal, the secretary, and all of the staff in the building, and really appreciate that open communication that they're doing.
If I may, through the chair, quick question, Dr. Brunel. The recent mailing of the interim progress reports from the high school, in there was a little flyer stating that the high school is now going green and that they're doing their newsletters online. If any of the other schools considered doing that?
I just had a long conversation with Eric Bouvier, the technology director, today's Monday, within the past couple of days, about this initiative to go green, and we're really looking at doing that in the schools, not only for newsletters, but even our billing. I've talked to Mr. Dede about, so we certainly will be doing that. What I hope to do through the One Call Now system, we have
Would you become an expert?
I know, yes, exactly. We have the ability to do surveys through that, and with tone responses. And I just hesitate to do it right now because I think everyone anticipates when they hear my voice it's either canceling or delaying school. But to find out, I want to be sure that we've got a very high percentage of parents that have access to email and also access to technology and computers, because we want to be sure that we're not leaving out a segment of our population. So once we have that, we'll be moving in that direction.
All right,
but I
thank
just
you.
want to be sure.
Now, if there is a certain population that doesn't, is there some way we can take care of that?
Yeah, that's what I think that we would probably look to do, is for those who would prefer to receive it electronically to do that, and then those who still want a paper copy, would be printing, certainly far less, but we'd be able to get them to them as well. I want to be sure that we don't miss anybody with those.
Yep.
And the last item in there just was making you aware of 2 temporary leaves of absence. One for a teacher who is spending much-needed time with her ailing parents in Indiana. And the second one, Shelley Ham-Moylan, who was accepted through Rotary International to spend what will be 3 weeks of school time in the Philippines. And she has set up to do through Skype, which she can do instant accessing with her class in her school. They have a map up of the islands and where it is that she'll be going, and she's very excited about this opportunity to bring back, and I do see it as an opportunity for us to get something valuable in return for her trip.
Okay. Then we go to unfinished business.
I am sorry to report that the M.A.S.C. M.A.S.S. conference update is not here for you this evening. These numerous snow and ice and what have you, I will have that to you at the next meeting. But I did include in there for you the legal issues update. I thought that was really an interesting packet that we received while Mr. Page and Mrs. Gibbrey and I were down at the conference. So share it with you for some light reading, perhaps, over the holidays.
There you go. You can do
Yeah.
that tonight when you get
Interesting
home,
cases.
Wayne.
There were some,
You can do
yeah.
that tonight when you get home.
The next item is the project management team. I included for you the minutes of the meeting, with the next meeting being held on January 8th. And I'm sure you've all driven by Drury Square that the old Yongsheng is down, and they are moving forward with Phase 3, the final phase of the high school project, which is very exciting news, I think.
Question through the chair, if I may. What's this about this Verizon poll? Where is this?
It is, Mr.
Right
Potty.
in the middle, it's right in
Yeah,
the
it
middle of
is.
that lot. You
Yeah.
drive by, you'll
The
see it,
parking
that's
lot?
it.
Like in where
Yeah,
Young
right
Shing
the
used to
parking
be?
lot.
Behind where Yongshing was, where the
Yeah.
building was.
Okay.
It's now running telephone wires from the street to the pole,
Gone?
and from the pole to
Oh.
Town Pizza. It's gone
You said
today?
It's gone?
Yeah, the one that was right in the middle of their driveway?
No.
No,
this-
you're talking about the old
Further
Young
back,
Shings.
yeah.
No. Yeah, this
The
is,
old
the-
Young Shings,
yeah.
So it was preventing, I mean, dead center meaning
It's,
what? Dead
it's right in the center of
the-
that spot. Well, Verizon, of course, doesn't want to do anything for free. So they're saying, well, we've had that pole there for 35 years, so it's there by right, so we're not going to move it. If you want us to move it, you're going to have to
Pay
pay
for
us.
So what's the compromise
Well,
or
I think
what's
we're
the next
arguing that they
step?
ought to move it. They never had an easement for it. They had no one
Okay.
gave them a right to be on there, but they were on there. They were on there for a long time.
Okay, so that's their argument. They've
That's
been there
their
forever
argument,
and
yeah.
nobody's complained.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
after 35 years, that
Yeah.
don't kind of give them the right.
Isn't there some kind of unwritten law that
Statute of
says that?
So it sounds like the project management team is trying to
Okay.
figure
Yes.
it out.
Okay,
Yeah,
I
there
was
you
just
go.
wondering what it was. Thank you.
Definitely. After the discussion that went on about Worcester State College using the baseball fields, unfortunately, they've opted not to do so. They, like everyone else, are in tight fiscal times, so they passed on the offer at this point. And lastly, I included for you the strategic plan that's been updated with track changes. And I would be happy to answer your questions, or perhaps we could, if you want to review through it and bring it up at a future meeting. But I'm happy to report that much of the work in here is very much on schedule, and look forward to using this as a document that's a living, breathing document that we continually refer to. So I'm happy to say we're making progress on it.
Does anybody have any questions?
Yes, I do.
knew you would.
Of course I would. I would definitely like to put this on a future agenda. I think it's important for us to take the time. Dr. Brunel, I did go through it. I will admit, I was disheartened at some of the things that are getting moved out. I understand the reasonings behind it, but I really think it's important for us to, discuss it. And I know it's probably going to take a little bit of time, but I think it's important enough that we really need to, as a committee, go through this. So I would like to make that
So Dr.
suggestion.
Brunel, why don't you look at the schedule and see when we might be able to. I
Okay.
would imagine this is going to take a good portion of a meeting.
Yep.
So we need to make sure that we're on schedule with the budget, so.
Okay.
And this is untimed, we want to do this quickly, so we need to try to fit that in without perhaps adding another.
Specifically
Okay.
because we're doing budgets. I mean, we
Exactly.
need to tie
That's
this
exactly
in,
right.
so I think it's important that we do that. Even
And
if we have a meeting just
again,
to go
we
through
should be
this, I don't
keeping
know,
this
yeah.
close at hand as we go through the budget.
Right.
I would ask Liz and Dr. Brunel if you believe there would be any value into inviting back all the people who participated in that and doing a presentation there, so that they'll be up to date on what has been done and what has not been done and why it has not been done, so that they could participate in changes or discussion of changes as well as we, since it was the work of a much larger group than this committee.
Sure.
And Ron, what would you think of just sending people, once we decide when we're going to do this presentation and discussion at a school committee meeting, maybe we invite people to that meeting rather than doing it twice. Maybe we do it that way?
Okay.
Okay.
Makes good sense. And actually, as just mentioned regarding budget, I did have a conversation with Mr. Kazanovich today. We, with basically losing just about a week's time, and I know that on the town side, they have been very occupied with the ice storm and all that entailed in that. So asked if the budget timeline was still on schedule. His sentiment was that they were still looking for a little bit more direction on where we were going. So I think that what I'd like to recommend is, rather than having that meeting on January 5th, the first day that we return, that we actually cancel that meeting, still keep the one for January 7th that's on place. We have here in the district, we have met as a entire leadership team. Mr. Didi and I met with every principal, as well as fine arts and athletics and technology facilities, and have gone through their budget. We've compiled it and put it together. We had a second meeting today. We were hoping to have one Friday. We had the snow day. But I would like to have at least one more opportunity to review through that. So rather than have it for you tomorrow, plus the fact, hopefully later in the agenda, you will approve Mr. Didi accepting or acting as the school department's agent for the oil bid. That will come on December 29th, and we are hopeful that that will reap us some savings that we can reflect in the budget at this time. We're hesitant to change it until we actually have a hard and fast number. So rather than get you a copy of the budget tomorrow, we'd push that off a week, so you'd have it on December 30th. Because they'll open the bids on the 29th. Yeah, Happy New Year, right. And then forego the meeting on the 5th, but still keep the one on the 7th, and I'll give you a revised timeline. What I think it will be at this point is still stay with Wednesday the 7th, still with Saturday the 10th, still with Monday the 12th, and likely add Wednesday the 14th. And I know that's an awful lot of meetings in a short period
Are you
of time.
saying cancel the
Cancel the 5th.
5th altogether?
Yes.
Can we run through those dates and times just real quickly?
Sure.
I'm sorry. Wednesday the 7th?
Wednesday the 7th
At,
6 o'clock.
okay,
Saturday the 10th
yeah,
at 9 a.m.
okay.
Monday the 12th at 6 o'clock, and tentatively Wednesday the 14th at 6 o'clock. But I will send you something to confirm that.
Okay, thank you.
And the hearing will be on the 14th?
And then we'll need to decide if you want to have the hearing on the 14th. I'm really waiting to hear back from Mr. Kazanovich and Mr. O'Connor, either to do the 14th, or if you need time to mull it about for a bit, to do it, actually we couldn't do it on the 19th, there's no school that day. So likely on the 14th would be to hold the hearing, yes. 14th or the 21st. Once I know more from them, I'll be in touch with all of you.
Thank you.
Okay. New business, substitute training sessions?
Yeah, I just wanted to make you aware that it came to me that we have a need. We are short in supply on our substitutes. So I held 2 training sessions on December 8th, and we had 18 people who participated. Some who qualified to serve as instructional assistant subs, and others as substitute teacher subs. They meet the qualifications currently in place for that. We actually just received back on Thursday all of the Cora reports. Their applications are all in, so they are good and ready to move forward. We are going to provide an on-site training day for them, so they're actually working with either an instructional assistant or a teacher to really learn the ropes firsthand there. And it was a very positive experience, very eager, interested people, some who are currently volunteering in our schools already, but did say, that they had shared with some friends in neighboring districts, and they were impressed that we're trying to train substitutes, because oftentimes we don't give them much training and we put them in classrooms. So it was a positive experience. Excuse me, and to that end, I did include in here for you a draft of a substitute teacher job description that, if approved by you, we would have not only the new substitutes, but all of the substitutes in the district. On the back of it, you'll see that it really stresses the point of confidentiality of student and school personnel information. I think that's a critically important piece. We review it annually with our staff that is permanent, but I think it's a necessary reminder for all of the people who work in schools, whether they're volunteers or paid as substitutes, to know that what happens in the school, especially regarding student and personnel information, really needs to stay there. It can't go outside onto the soccer fields or wherever else.
Okay, so we need a motion to approve the job description for substitute teachers.
I'll make the motion to approve the job description as written.
I'll second that.
Any more discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Mr. Didi is not here this evening, so the items under business financial, first one is the oil procurement. And as mentioned just a few moments ago, Mr. Didi, along with business managers through French River Education Center, are looking to lock in the prices for oil for fiscal 2010 on December 29th. So it's my recommendation that you authorize Mr. Didi to serve as the awarding agent and to lock in that price, especially where they're in a very good place at this point.
I'll make that motion.
Second?
No, second that.
Discussion? No discussion? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
The next two items are informational, the first one being Mr. Didi and Mr. Fahey have reviewed through their expectation of oil consumption for fiscal 2010. Rentar fuel converters have recently been installed in each of our buildings, and it is hoped, and actually Mr. Fahey is starting to see some benefit from those, that we're going to require less oil. So rather than 94,000 gallons, they're confident, I should say, that 80,000 gallons will be all that's needed for fiscal 2010.
That is huge.
It is a huge difference. So that, coupled with a lower price, hopefully will be good news for us. And finally is, there are two transfers. They are within the same series, so I share them with you as information only to keep you apprised.
Okay, any questions about that? Okay, and then we have policies. We have the policy KJA, and we need to have a motion to approve the second reading.
KJA, I make a motion to approve the second reading.
Second.
Okay. Any discussion?
No.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstained. Okay, and that seems to be it, except for the, I did want to just mention one thing really quickly. I was able to go to both the middle school and the high school holiday concerts, and they were absolutely fantastic. It amazes me every year how well these kids do. And I suggest that anybody who is trying to get in a holiday spirit next year and the years to come, to come and see our children. The high school especially, because they've developed into such a wonderful group of young people and their talent. It was really amazing. So I wanted to thank them for all their work, and I'm sure the elementary schools did equally as well.
They did. I appreciate you saying that, because I did get a chance to go and see a concert at each of the schools. And for those of you who may have missed the concert, the Auburn Middle School holiday concert will be January 7th. And that was because they had to change the time twice due to weather conditions. But they were wonderful across the district.
Now, you realize that that's...
Yes. After the fact, yes.
So what do
Okay.
you do about that, Mary Ellen? I just want to say Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to everybody. I hope you have a happy and safe holiday.
Thank you
And
very much.
one that has electricity involved.
Yes. I've been good with that.
And
so I
plowed
can't
roads
complain.
like we have now,
Okay.
thank goodness, huh?
We need a motion to enter into executive session under MGL Chapter 39, Section 23B, Section 3, for the purpose of continuing discussions of strategies with respect to collective bargaining with union and non-union personnel. The committee will reconvene to open session to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Discussion? I'm so tired.
I
I know, I have no right to say that in front of you.
Do you want me to stay, or do you want me?
No, we're going to do the roll call, right?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yes.
Sorry. Mrs. Gibbrey?
Yes.
Mr. Page?
Yes.
Mr. Proudy?
Yes.
Mrs. Gribbins?
Yeah.